It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Good evening, and welcome to the daily or the weekly two-way wrap-up. And we're going to do a DIY version this evening. So, got the first human out there. So this is how I put together one of these shows. So first, I'm going to open the thing over on the YouTube. Shows. So that's what we're looking at on the screen here. Now I'm going to go to Edit Video. So we're going to edit the video that we're watching here. And I'm just going to edit this description here. I guess the next thing I'll need to do is just go grab YouTube. So I'm going to open up in a new window, or a new tab, I guess, my channel. So there's the YouTube channel over there, with me and Smeggy watching it. And then we'll go to History. So history is one of these tools that are areas that YouTube gives you in your channel. Thank you for that. And it keeps track of all the stuff that you've been watching. So that's what I usually do to build this show, is I go back into my channel's history, what I've been viewing on this computer or on this channel. And that's how I build the show. I guess to start off with, though, I didn't mention this, it is our we are in the midst of our campaign to fight taxes and bills, and trying to win on both fronts. So this is the 2021 campaign. Hopefully we'll get our stuff together and not have such a massive tax bill like we did the last couple of years. But that was not necessarily intentional. It was just cost of doing business, what we were trying to do. So anyway, we're trying to pay that off and be responsible citizens and whatnot, and pay for some bills that are accumulating while we're trying to pay things off. So as capitalists, we're not just asking for handouts or waiting for somebody else to do the work. Instead, we're spending time making things like our patches. So we did some Daily Gun Show rip-off patches of our old Daily Gun Show, something like 1,200, 1,600 episodes of that show still out there, hours long, and we'll be playing around with that in the future. But we do have some new materials, so we've been playing around with some of the old designs. I lost the contract, or I lost the subscription to the software that I used to build patches. So a lot more old stuff is going to be showing up because we can't build new stuff. So we added the second design of the chairs against the wall, which is the wooden chair. And this is in a red, white, and blue, because that's about as close to 4th of July themed stuff as you're going to get out of our store. And then, so there's plenty of those. They're all like $19.11. So hopefully a nice capitalist amount that can be attained by a lot of people. There's a bunch of them. So hopefully that turns into a bunch of bills getting paid. And then our first version, our first design of the chairs against the wall is, of course, just a plain old folding chair, metal folding chair up against a wall. And we have that one with the new materials. I don't want to keep saying printed out, sewed out in the plain old, gray chair against a gray wall with some blue. We got the pink chair against the blue wall. We got the gray chair against a green wall, and the gray chair against a blue wall with the bad picture, because I don't want to get into it, but it took a bad picture. So we got some of the first design chair against the walls in the new materials. They came out pretty sharp. I really dig this new material that I found source for. It's very, very similar to the original stuff we used to use, and I look forward to decent patches. I know for a while there we've been playing with materials. There's still going to be some playing around. I've figured out how to do stuff on tie-dye. I guess we'll jump over and talk about that real quick since we're waiting for people to show up. One of my frustrations is sewing on tie-dye. Because of my machine is made for old ladies to sew on bibs and stuff, it never bothered to learn how to sew on a decent material like a tie-dye. So it's been really difficult. But look at how straight these tie-dye sews are today. So I figured out something. Yeah, it's something that other patch manufacturers wish they could do, but played around a little bit with some, I don't know what I'm calling those guys, the X-rays, I guess, and on tie-dyes. And then here we have another glitch that happened, and it came out being weird. So we'll see. For now, I think what we'll do is there's only 7 people watching, so you're the only people that even have an opportunity to grab one of these at this point because we have no rules yet. But you see these 3 top ones here, these Wolverine patterns? They're the new Wolverine pattern. But what is going on with that design? If you can figure out what's going on with that design without any further clues at all, then you're entitled to one of them. You can have one. Those are completely one-offs, and we'll talk about that later on in the show. So for anybody that wants to go check out Instagrams, go look at that. Feel free. Playing around with some new materials, but also did sew out a bunch of new ones. So we have a bunch of Cheers Against the Walls in stock and different colors and whatnot. And then a bunch of the stuff from last week that didn't sell yet is still up there. And we are in this campaign to fight taxes and bills. So that's enough of that. We'll get back over to the show. So thanks for showing up. Looks like a bunch of people left because we were talking about paying bills. So now we're going to talk about how to build a show like this. So each week I attempt to wrap up what was good about the week. So what I'm going to do now is pull my watch history from YouTube over to this window and cram that over there so we don't have to look at it. And then we'll take the this video's description, or what am I calling this? That we're editing this video, so we're editing the description of the video we're watching right now. Now, typically, I would be over in StreamYard, which is a Canadian ripoff of Hangouts that charges us money. We have to pay money to Canada. Me and a bunch of other people are bullied into paying money to Canada. But normally, I could go into my StreamYard and open it up over here. And, it's another... Oh, wait, no, not like that quite. I would have to open it up here and click Edit. And then I could do the same thing. I could edit the description, and it's a little nicer because of this form factor. It's got the little drop down. Canada really likes you to be able to adjust the size of your description window. But I can do the same exact thing over here in YouTube. The only thing is they don't care. You get a rigid size description window. Go F yourself if you want more visual space on this page. For whatever reason, they didn't bother to make that an expandable thingy. But it does give you a little count there, so I know that I have 378 words out of 5,000, so there's going to be a lot of potential to write in there. This one doesn't give me the little, what do you call that thing? Little word count, I guess. So at some point, it'll just turn red and it won't accept it to save. Down here is where you save it. And that's how I determine over here if I've written too much. So it's kind of a pain, and for those reasons, I'm not going to go into StreamYard. I'll stick over here on YouTube. Normally, though, this video wouldn't exist, so it wouldn't be any point in digging around in YouTube trying to find this description, so I would be doing it in StreamYard. All right, so that's a little bit of why I'm in the YouTube description editing it like this. Now I'm going to go back over to my main page of YouTube, remember, and I clicked on History in the, what's this thing called? The hamburger toolbar, pancake toolbar, whatever that thing's called. I clicked on History, and I'm just moving this window over so we don't have to look at so much of it because it's just a big waste of layout. It's got a bunch of YouTube crap over here that we don't need. All right, and I can also minimize the window on the left so we don't have to see so much of that. So what we're looking at here is the videos that I've watched most recently backwards chronologically. So there's the video that we're watching, that I'm opening up and that we're watching right now, that weird cat on the cover. And then we got Liberty Doll. She was live earlier this evening. Then you got the ripoff of the Daily Gun Show was yesterday. And then looks like CloverTac did a show yesterday, and so on and so forth. So as we go backwards, we'll be going chronologically backwards to the videos I've watched on this channel. In other words, if I flip this thing over, can I do this live? Is this legal? I'm going to switch accounts over to the gear side while we're live. And now you see it's completely different watch history over here. Completely different. So let's go back over to the YouTube, or to the big one. And now we're back on the gun channel, or the gun website's watch history. Right on. So Free Patch Friday, you'll be able to grab stuff like that if you're interested. Smeggy's trying to cram some non-2A stuff up here. Yep, I saw that. Appreciate the order. And I think you're ordered number 14, if I remember correctly, but you might be 15, I forget. But keep those numbers. People that got their stuff, if they already got it in the mail, those numbers are going to be important as we get through this campaign to fight bills and what the hell am I trying to say? The campaign to fight bills and taxes is I think what I'm calling it. All right, so now we're going back over to the YouTube history. I don't ever post Liberty stuff on my channel just because she's got a ton of viewers. She's doing fine. I really try to do this in an attempt to link to stuff that people might not be finding. And most of the people that are looking for Liberty Doll, I think, are libertarians and not necessarily gun people, although they're usually okay with gun stuff. They're interested in talking about the news and everything else. So I'm not usually interested in sending my people over to her channel necessarily, so I leave that one. The rip-off of the Daily Gun Show can go suck it. They don't need my help. I only link to that one if they do something good, and they didn't do anything good this week, I guess. You got Clover's thing. This is about monetization. There's no way I'm going to link to that. So then you get Wheeled did a video about his giveaway. I don't like it when people give away subscribers. I care about my subscribers, so I would never give you away. But, people do it, and I witness it occasionally. Let's see, this one is a video of mine. I usually don't bother keeping my videos in my own watch list, so I just click that X, and that removes it. One of the things I'll be doing in here is removing extraneous stuff so that it doesn't try to show me stuff based on my watch history. So by removing Liberty Dolls, it will not try to show me a bunch of libertarian news, right? Because that's what her channel's mostly about. Clovers, if I leave this in here with monetization tips, it's going to start telling me, it's going to think I care about how to make money on YouTube, so I have to remove that one. The Wields, I don't want a bunch of subscription, or what I'm trying to say, a bunch of giveaway stuff in my feed, so I have to delete that one too. Then we get to Jared doing a thing about, he was watching the testimony with the Chipman confirmation. It was both boring and annoying at the same time. So I watched his and Crump's at the same time. I don't need to link to either one of those guys. They're pretty big. I'll link to Crump when he does something super interesting, but this is just watching something. Let's see. Then we did our own video. I don't need that in there. Reading our own commentary. I don't know why I'm watching that. Probably had to go in there for some technical reason. Then we get Clover talking with Rachel, so we'll leave that in there. I have that in there twice, so I'll remove it. It was little kitten George's birthday. I didn't watch that live, but we'll leave that in there. Then you get one of the best channels on YouTube, who has now not been doing what he used to do. Had a weird poem, I guess, that was 4 minutes long. I'm going to remove that, even though it's a good channel. You got Rants and Raves. Ugh. All right, so now I get a whole bunch of crap that I'm going to have to remove out of here. But this is one of the reasons I did it this way this week, is because if you're not manicuring, is that the right word? If you're not paying attention to your own history, then YouTube is just going to keep throwing you garbage, and that can really be stressful or annoying, right? So you can change this. So I was doing a lot of research on racism, on gun control and racist history of gun control. So I have a lot of garbage. Now, I was watching that mostly on my other computer, which is not logged in, so there'll be no watch history for all that. But when I did open things up on this machine, it shows up in my watch history, and I definitely want to get rid of that stuff because it's channels that I hate, and it's news, basically, and it's old news, and it's racial news. So last thing I want is stupid YouTube showing me a bunch of racial tension shit. So getting rid of some of these things that were from that research. And some of these I think I was going to mention. So this one is Antonia Aquifer getting all upset. And I never seen this one. This one was from a while ago. Let's open that up and take a look at how long ago that was. It was interesting, but also I didn't like it. became aware of her.
Were exactly the way the leaders of the women's
See how worked up she is? She's all mad. This is in 2017. I didn't like it.
Making sure that we
It was a NRA thing, and what the hell would have been going on in 17? Not sure. Just getting mad because Trump won, I guess. But I guess the Women's March, and they were getting all mad about it. Anyway, I really did not like that video, but close that out of there. This is one that someone sent me to watch, and I haven't watched it yet, but it's 42 minutes long on this one channel who interviews business dudes, and he's interviewing Mike Ritland, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to shove it up there anyway. Here's me watching my own video, so we'll remove that. It's weird to watch your own videos. This one, I don't know. You ever heard of Lou's Safe Space? I don't know what this was. This was 2 minutes worth of attempting to talk about racist roots of gun control in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. I mean, it was interesting, but I'm removing it from my history now. Then we get the Second Amendment Institute, Racist History of Gun Control. This one has a minute commercial. No, this was 1 minute and 21 seconds long. 1 minute and 21 seconds. Like, we care so much. Let's go ahead and just cram it into 1 minute and 21 seconds. It was a little ambitious. There's the Yankees chat. We'll remove that. Hit or miss. Remove that. Oh, this one. Look at this horrible shit. So here's CNN. We don't give a shit about your flag. Let's wipe it down on the ground and then just throw a bunch of shit on it, and then let's show stupid shit on it that has nothing to do with each other on top of it. Yes. Anyway, can you imagine the double standards of gun ownership from CNN for 3 minutes and 21 minutes sucked nuts? Yeah, it did. It sucked both nuts and butts. Let's see. Then this one, David Feldman. Holy crap, is this horrible? Who the hell is David Feldman? He's an idiot. He basically just lies, and I don't even think he read shit. I think he read some bullet points in a couple of articles and just made shit up. There's no way he read stuff and then got what he said out of it. So unless somebody wrote something really whack and he was reading that, he just made some shit up. And that was a hard thing to listen to right there. This is about how the NRA hijacks the gun control debate. So if you want to get stressed out, I wouldn't even bother listening to the dorks who, get paid to stress you out. Watch this. These people stress you out at like the college level. That's just garbage right there. This is Hannah Cox, and this was 46 minutes on racist to gun control, and I think she's a libertarian. I don't think she read anything, and she never showed anything on the screen except for her little fake plant, her picture back there with a mirror, and her face. So it was useless. And she didn't know anything. She was just saying a bunch of shit she read, I think. This guy read an article and then read the article to the screen. The Hungry Handgunner. Sounds like he's ambitious or whatever, but he basically just read a thing to the screen. This was weird. This was 2 minutes and 32 seconds. So I think it says a lot about a side when they're satisfied with 2 minutes and 32 seconds to cover an issue like gun control, like racism. Or at least they're satisfied that you can just slap racism down on something and walk away from it. I've got 22 minutes worth of verification, so that's racist. Now this, Adam ruins everything. I don't like that guy. However, this one was weird. It's cringy. Is that what the kids say? But because the guy is so virtue-y. But there was one, I think, good point out of that. I actually got out of watching that one. Now we get to Al Jazeera. It's possible to suck a nut and a butt at the same time, and they do it. They just sucked at everything. It turns out America sucks. If you listen to this one. Glad to get that out of my history. Here's Matt. I accidentally watch Matt once in a while. I remove it immediately because of his weird headline shit. I don't want any of that stuff in my feed. And this is one of the reasons I'm doing this, is you can see all this stuff. My feed was horrible. I do not like my YouTube feed when it's got all this stuff in. I probably should have watched my YouTube feed. Can I do that? Let's go to YouTube and see if that happens. Let's see if it's possible for me to open my YouTube feed now. So this is not my favorites. This is just what YouTube thinks I want to watch based on everything YouTube knows about me. They think I want to watch Gun Freedom Radio, Jaeger, Echo, Crump, Jared, Liberty Doll, and Wield. All right, that's fine, because I do watch all those people. Then Minnesota Gun Owners. All right. YouTube movies. I want that shit, so I'll say not interested. Yankee. I never watch his shit, but it's up there all the time. Smeggy. That's from 3 years ago, so I don't know who's he's paying off to get in here. This FPC. Moss from Wilson Combat. I actually have been watching Wilson Combat. There's no freaking way I want to watch this, so not interested. I don't really watch this dude say his shit. This I'm not super interested in, but I'm not going to remove it. And look, it's trying to show me a free Ninja Turtle movie. That's good. So anyway, that's my feed now. It's actually not that weird, so it's probably no point in looking at it later. But if I would have looked at it with all this weird racist stuff and with all of the dumb stuff I had in there, it would have been a lot different before.
I think that's really the biggest.
All right, so I'm still going through my history, manicuring a little bit, but also right-clicking and popping things up over here to add to this show. That's what I'm really doing here. So there's Wheels 1000 sub thing again. I don't want some giveaways on my feed. This is Maj talking for 7 minutes, and it's not his best talk. This one's really good. Holy moly, was this dude good. I forgot what his deal is. He just wrote a book about... No, this is a different dude. This is just a guy who's optimistic, I guess. It reminded me of a guy who wrote a book about the... Maybe this. No, 21 Steps. Okay, so no, this is the guy that wrote the book about the guard at the Unknown Soldier. Super interesting to listen to. Interesting for sure. Now this one is this Al Jazeera again? Is that what AJ plus means? I'll bet you that's what it means.
You might think of gun control and feel, or you might think of gun control and think.
Well, you might think of gun control and then cry on demand, or you might think you're a spaz movie dude got paid to pose Knox. It was horrible. This is not good, and it's 2 minutes again. Like, hey, let's appease and let's pander by throwing down 2 minutes on racism. We're definitely putting in Dragon Man's new 40 acres over there. I'm shopping for a new bed, so I keep asking Ashley about it. That's why I'm going to keep saying these ads.
Guys, I'm over here at my flat track, and
This dude is like 70 or something. He's a Nam vet, and he's kicking butt. Colorado is awesome. People are showing up at his museum, and he just bought the 40 acres next to his other 40 acres. So now he asked everybody what they wanted. One of the things people were like, hey, let's get a flat track. And I'm guessing that just means a big, not like oval, but a big sort of kidney-shaped track. And this is Dragon Man just jumping in one of his like 30-something hot rods and dragging all around. The best part is that when you, hey, right on, appreciate that very much, dude, thank you. Watching this at whatever time this was on the 22nd, earlier that day on Instagram, his daughter was like posting like, hey, here I am showing up for work, and here's my dad doing weird shit with his hot rods. And that was Dragon Man taking this hot rod out to go tool around in it. And then whoever's in this truck, I'm guessing, is videotaping this thing. And I'm pretty much sure that Dragon Man just went out and tooled around in that thing all day. How cool is that? So Dragon Man's awesome. He's posting cool stuff up there. Let's see. So we'll be adding that to the list. Daily Bullet. I don't watch it very often. I definitely don't want it in my list. This was Crump talking about the White House using domestic terrorism. That's going to be interesting for sure. We've got Riding Shotgun with Charlie, with Sharyn. I think she goes by something else. Hinchcliffe? Some letters. S.A. Hinchcliffe or something like that on the Instagrams. And I listened to this one, but I listened to it while I was doing other stuff, so I'll probably listen to it again. She knows a bunch of people, so I think maybe I didn't listen to the whole thing. How long is it? I was going to say, because I don't remember hearing too much insight, so maybe I didn't listen to the whole thing. Let's see. So now we get to more of the history research or whatever. And this one NRA piece. And it's tough to watch. It's cringy watching NRA stuff, especially when it just is racism, because most of this stuff is superficial. It's all coming from one angle or another. And that's interesting. I mean, but what are you going to do? That's how it is with every piece of research I've done online. There's an additive effect. So until more people add research, everybody just looks and finds what's there. So until there's more accumulated, everyone just references the stuff that exists. And that's what we're seeing after looking at, this isn't everything I looked at. This is the stuff I brought over to this machine to watch again, or to pull stuff from the descriptions, or to pause and search for things or whatever. And not that these are the best. These just, some of them had clues or concepts or something that I was looking at. In fact, some of these are really shitty. But after watching a lot of these, it's very evident that there's probably a couple of books written that a lot of the articles cite, and then everything else cites those articles. And again, that's pretty much how everything is, period, and everything I've ever found in gun research has been that way. And that's, for me at least, a piece of it, is figuring out what those sources are and then scrutinizing the sources to see where they got their research from. And sometimes that can be insightful or interesting, or sometimes that can nullify, right? Or sometimes that just solidifies, like, boom, this is all legit. It's good to go. This is Nagger. I hate Nagger, and I hate this as much because it's useless. It's basically 8 minutes with blah, 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 blah. It's like Charlie Brown teacher talk, except that place brings in millions of bucks every year. Not everybody's on our side. Mr. Bullet Points was the opposite. So not too satisfied with that. This one is the Daily Caller, and it was 7 minutes long, and it looks like they're showing Maj, but if I remember right, that's just clickbait. I don't even think they interviewed him. I think they just referred to him, and I don't think that was good. Then you get Top Shot Chris doing his actual testimony. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that there, because not only is that linked to Chris's channel, but it links to something like a U.S. Senate testimony. I'd rather YouTube would use that to shove stuff at me than some of this other crap I've had in here. Then we get to Philosopher. She's been on, she's a libertarian who's been on Liberty Doll a couple of times hanging out. And she did this video called Hidden History, and she also just read the same article that Hidden Handgunner guy did. And but it was interesting hearing two different people give you a review of that report. Then I went and read the report myself. Then you got an old one from Ken Blanchard from, who was this? Oh, actually, I'm going to put both of these in there, and we'll put Chris's thing in there again. And here, if anybody wants to complain about Recoil Magazine, I'll complain about Recoil Magazine, even though I got a little bit more insight from listening to Chris the other day on somebody's show, Unlocked and Loaded, I guess, about that dude. I'm still not convinced that Recoil didn't do that intentionally, knowing, because they've done in the past, that it would get reviews or get a bunch of responses that it did. I do think that was engineered, and I think if they would have put this picture of Chris on the cover, would have changed the whole dynamic, and there'd have been no controversy. And if they would have said, oh, should we use this background or this background or this background, it wouldn't have been confusing and it wouldn't have been insightful. But anyway, I think Chris got played on that one. Next up is Philosopher, so we've shoved those over there. Next is Armed Scholar. Is that really from this week? I don't remember that one. But we're going to put it up there because that's what it's all about, the two-way wrap-up. Then we get Barbecue talking about his $10 first aid kit, which is really a $13 first aid kit. So everything about this is fake, from the title to the fakeness about how he keeps referencing it being $10 to the part where it costs $10. Nope, it costs $13, and then there's probably shipping. But otherwise, it was not that bad of a first aid kit for being garbage, for being just basics and stuff. I'd say it was worth it. For what it is, I wouldn't use that as a first aid kit, but I would buy that for $10 and throw it in a vehicle or throw it in a boat or something like that. Then there's one of Matt's. I usually delete Matt's. Now Smeggy did something where it was him and Night Strike talking. Then you had Society Podcast. I didn't watch that, so I don't know why that showed up. Sometimes when you look at stuff on your phone and you fall asleep or you put it down, it'll count it as a view, even if you didn't even actually engage it. So then you get Clover talking to Charlie Papa. I don't get that guy. Because then later on in the week when he was talking, I didn't watch this show, but later on in the week when he was in Clover's thing on Thursday, I think it was him, made a point of saying he doesn't talk about politics on his gun channel. I don't understand. Then you get Walt getting played by one of them drama people that doesn't do anything except complain about what other people do, so that's how they get their views. So he's playing into that game. Then you get Jared talking about, is this one the filibuster? I can't watch everything Jared does because sometimes it's not what I'm looking for, but a lot of times it's just the quickest way to get the info. Come on. I seriously got to watch this whole commercial? That's lame. That is super lame. Come on. So what I do is I bounce past the fluffy part.
For the redefinition of a frame receiver.
So it reminds people about the comments.
So again, let's get our people motivated and get some comments done. That is September 8th, which is the deadline for that version, or for that comment. All right, now let's get into this. This is potentially very dangerous, meaning BS gun control. To run a majority, to nuke the filibuster, and
he's talking about the
as
filibuster. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff going back and forth on that. So not a news channel, but probably worth paying attention to. And sounds like a linchpin. Is that right? Let's see. Senate talking about a compromise. Oh, Trump had his after action thing about the makers match. That was interesting to listen to. On Father's Day, Dragon Man drove his Jeep out to open the gate, and I hadn't realized, but I was watching the thing on double speed. All right, quit it. So I was watching the thing on double speed. It's already sped up, but I was watching it on double speed, so it was pretty cool watching it on double speed.
I'm opening up. It's 9:30
Anyway, it's cool watching Dragon Man open, and on Father's Day there was a pretty big pile of people there, but then just watching people come in and say hey to Dragon Man, pretty cool. I don't know if probably very few people have been there that early. I've been there to be first in line before, and for me it was weird because I had only been there a couple of times and I'd never been there first in line before, so I didn't know what to expect, but it was kind of neat seeing that experience happens pretty much every day for people. It's kind of cool. So 600 firearms found unaccounted for in West Virginia. I did not watch this, so I don't know what this is. There's Matt doing trigger time. I think somebody sent me this one. Probably DJ. There's Yankees. This is me watching my own thing. That's weird. This is back to Sunday already. Now you'll notice that on Sunday there was no Locked and Loaded because this week we got ripped off. So there's me watching my own stuff again. This is a gun shop in Indiana that does some sort of a weekly used gun review. It's kind of interesting. I'm not going to leave it in there because I don't want to watch gun reviews, but I thought that was interesting. I probably would have put it in the today's weekly wrap up, but I already deleted it. Let's see. Now we got Yankee squaring off against Clover. I believe they're going to have some kind of battle. And then we get the Saturday show, the overnight. Number 11, that only happens every other week. So got to listen to a chat overnight. Let's see, there's me watching my own video. That's creepy. Let's see. The Chipmans gave a ton to Democrat candidates. I'm going to remove this one. I've seen a couple of people talking about that. I don't know anything about it, so I'm wondering if anyone's got any insight on that. And then we get the best chat of the week, which happened on Saturday. No, this isn't it. Which happened on Saturday. So what happened is on one of the days, I did a best of show, and when I did the best of show, I looked at a whole bunch of their shows. So I'm going to have to close a ton of their shows. And that probably explains why all week I get locked and loaded videos constantly. And it's always like the first couple of 10. So, yeah, that happened. Barbecue does his show. Definitely don't want to put a bunch of meat in my list. There we go. Then Locked and Loaded was on Saturday this week with Chris. And it was pretty good. Like I say, I learned something about recoil potentially. Best chat each week. And having Chris on it was a good one. Let's see. Then we did some watching our own stuff, which is creepy. Watch this guy build this knife. I'll get rid of that. So Walt talked to this one weirdo. I think he's touched. And yeah, so I watched a couple of things, I guess, to figure out who the hell that guy was. It was the 69th anniversary of Green Brace this week. There's Maj talking about activism. And this is going back to last week. So that's it. That's how I figure out what is going to be in this show. So what I've done is I've looked back at my history for YouTube. I've gotten rid of a bunch of stuff that is used by the logarithm to show me whatever. And then what I've ended up with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 videos.
All that good stuff. Right, and replay. Just want to say welcome wherever you're watching, listening, whatever. There is a comment section below. Conversations doesn't have to be just because you're in the replay, anything wherever or whatever you may be. Those that are following in the live side of things, if you've got questions,
Okay, now I have them all turned off. So I have all of those videos to cram into the description of this video. I'm not going to make you watch that, but that's what I'll do. Is I'll go through now and grab typically the URL of the video and then jab it in there. Then I will grab the title of the video and drop that in there. And then I'll see what happened to that. So I'll undo that, go back over to the video. This time I'll grab just the thing and not everything around it, hopefully. There. And then the last thing I'll do, because I like to give myself a bunch of extra work, is drop their channel name and number of subscribers they have. Because I think that kind of stuff is interesting to go back potentially over time and see when they were smaller or whatever. So anyway, then each little entry you'll get something like that. And that will give a link on my channel with something like 167,000 subscribers. A link to this guy with 300 subscribers, and these people with 492, even though they run the best 2A live chat each week. Then Crump with 2,000 subscribers, and Dragon Man with 163,000. That's awesome. I had no idea. So Dragon Man is almost beating me. There's no reason for that. I mean, that's freaking Dragon Man for crying out loud. And then you got Charlie with 1,000. Black Man with a Gun, Ken Blanchard with barely 1,000. He's been online for a long time. How long has this dude been online? About 17. So he only had that channel for a couple of years. He's been online a lot longer now. In fact, this video is a lot longer than that. Then you got Philosopher, 28,000 subs. She's a girl, though. Girls cheat. You get 17,000 for Chris. He cheats by being on national television all the time. 129 for Armed Scholar. That's interesting. Gadgets, or Jared has 450, almost 500,000 already. We said Dragon Man. His valuetainment place is 145. That's a business place. I'm talking about making money on YouTube. Holy crap, I bet you that guy's making some money. Wheeled has got 1,000 subs. He just had his 1,000 ding the other day. And then Clover is over almost at 10,000. He's at 9,000 something subs. So anyway, that's kind of interesting to me to see what size channels are. And then once you add time to that, see how at what rate. Like Clover, for example, it's interesting to see his rate of growth if you look at it on a graph or something. All right, with that, I'm not going to waste your time filling in all of these, but that's basically how I create the show. And then normally we start the show, go live, and then just go through and talk about each of those videos the way we just did here. We just did them in a weird order to illustrate the way I do. So we're going to flip back over. I don't think I need to flip back over to the channel here, or the thing. Just did it in a. So first I'm going to say thanks again to Savage for the $20. I do appreciate it. A lot of people get super chats and take it for granted. I use that money to pay bills and to keep the taxes from taking the house. So very much appreciated. I have not sold anything at the store all day as far as I know. So that is the only money we've made today. Thank you. Let's see. Otherwise, unless there's any other, I'll just go through the comments, I guess, and see if anybody said anything interesting or talk about, and then see what's happening. So Smeggy was out there, and G23. Good evening. Kojo and SS1 from Nebraska showing up. Let's see. Talking about the chat the other day. Yeah, there'll be a lot more gear chat since I'm not making any money doing 2A. The tie-dye ones we talked about over on the gear channel. I guess I have to go over to the Instagram and look at some of the Free Patch Friday stuff. And it only really matters if people order something. They'll be ordering anything, so there's nothing to give away for free today. But we can play with that a little bit. I'll just make you live the other day. Tim is out there. Andrew won't be saying anything though. Everybody's just saying hello to each other. Got your patches the other day. And green and orange one right on. Yeah, lost $1,000 making hug of floods. So happy to be able to get him out there. Still buy him off of Clover though. He needs some money too. Falling asleep. Good. Right on. Have a good night. How far am I from Dragon Ranch? From Dragon Man? I am probably 10 hours, 10, 11, 12, 13 hours maybe. Depends. I haven't actually driven straight there before. I've driven from Tulsa to Dragon Man's nonstop. And I've driven from Red Dawn to Dragon Man's. But I don't think I haven't driven from Tucson to Dragon Man's. It takes me like 8 to 10 hours to get to Red Dawn, I think. No, it takes me 10 hours to get to Red Dawn. I'm probably 15 hours away. But that's if the van's working. Right now, the van's not necessarily highway worthy, so I can't drop everything and get to Dragon Man's at the moment. Unless I rented something. All right, well, again, thanks for showing up. I don't know if anybody wants to chat about anything. We do have an open comment thing here. Their thing, Narc over here says there's 12 of you watching, so you're welcome to say stuff. We can have the show keep going. Welcome to buy stuff over at the store. Then you could perk stuff off the free patch panel. But not obligated to do any of that. I can go back to doing my thing here and wrap it up if there's nothing else going on. We tried to keep this one weekly wrap up instead of just some sort of weekly conversation or blab time. So, yeah, nobody's got anything else. We will wrap it up. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back to pick you up later.